Hello, 8th grade science. These are the directions for the evolution of tetrapods assignment that you see here. I have it open already. And so you're going to want to get this article where it says click here, open. That's what I have here. And that's where you're going to be filling this out. So what you're doing, there's kind of two different questions per row. You're going to be comparing using some observations. What physical traits have changed from the previous ancestor? In this case, we don't know the ancestor of this guy because he's the first one. But a lot of times we'll just be comparing, say, when you're on the lungfish, the one you guys are going to start, you're going to be comparing the lungfish to the one above it. In this case, the coelacanth. And you'll write two different physical traits that have changed. There's more than two, obviously, for a lot of these, but try and think of just two of them. And then you're also going to look for evidence in the article that talks about those changes as well. In this case, when I'm looking at the coelacanth, we're not doing the observations because there's no previous before it in our pictures, but it does have some text evidence that we can use. A lot of times what I did, and you'll kind of see this in the article, I tried to highlight some important quotes or important things. These are not all the answers, but they do have a good chunk of them, as you're going to find as you fill this out. So look for those highlighted spots. You can also use these pictures here at the bottom. And so these pictures, it's almost like if you remember the modern day dinosaur fossil assignment where you looked at those pictures. If you find one of these quotes and you don't see it talk about the fish or the animal that you're on, look at these pictures. I'm going to zoom in a bit. I don't know, 150? Sure. And they will list the animals that you're talking about. And you can compare basically kind of what you did with the previous ones. You can compare the fish that you're on to its ancestor. So like, let's say I'm trying to do Tiktaalik, and there wasn't a quote about Tiktaalik in the article. I can compare it to the one that's before it, which is the Pandycythus. And so I could compare its arm to Pandycythus, and I could try and talk about two different changes. Same with these. These are all the similar pictures. So if you can't find a quote, use the pictures at the bottom. In this case, back to what I was talking about, there is a quote when it talks about coelacanth, and really an easy way to find this, I think I was going to say it and I forgot, was look for the name of the animal or the fish in this case. So coelacanth, that's the name. They talk about coelacanths right here. It's kind of near this. And really what they're talking about is coelacanth was one of the first fish to have kind of lobe-like feet. I don't know why that's all white text. But it's one of the first fish to have lobe-like feet, which is what eventually, later became legs as we know them, which were kind of needed. So you guys will start on the lungfish, and you're going to compare, just using your observations, this picture of a lungfish to the coelacanth, and then you'll look for the article to either talk about the lungfish or look at the pictures down at the very bottom and then compare the two. And you'll do that for the rest of these different fish, leading on to these more, looks almost like a salamander type animals. And then at the very end, once you've kind of gone through those different ones, you're going to try and put this guy within this line, this lineage, so to speak, of animals. So this is what I talked about in the instructional video. This is a group of organisms. I'm going to delete the text evidence here because it's really big. This is a group of organisms that have kind of changed over time. We start with the coelacanth, we go to the lungfish, we can have Tiktaalik in there, and now we're kind of on land, on water. And then eventually, I think these are still kind of amphibian-like, but this is kind of how these organisms have changed over time, from 365 million years ago, way back to 400. So millions of years have gone by. On this, you're going to try and put this guy within that order, somewhere in that row. What does he look probably the most alike is what I would do. And then just explain why you put him next to whoever you did, using some evidence of their shared characteristics. That's how you do that assignment. Have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye. Good luck.